Hi,
Hello.
everyone.
How is everyone doing tonight? I just realized I haven't even looked at the comments yet. Just want to say hello to everybody.
I was just going to put hi, everyone, to see whoever's here, and please say hello and let us know you're here. Yeah,
let us know you're here. Where are you joining from? We missed everybody last week. We decided to take last Wednesday night off. There was a lot going on out in the world. And hey, Carrie, nice to see you tonight. Hi, Lenine.
Hi, Lenine, Carrie.
Yeah. So I wanted to let our creative friends know also that my dear friend Anne lost her mom last week. Her mom passed, and so we've been praying for Anne also. And so we're here for you, our dear creative girlfriend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's my mom passed in 2015, and there's just something about your mama. And so we just ask all of our friends to give lots of support and love and prayers to Anne. And we're so delighted that you're here tonight to join us.
Thank you. I was fortunate I didn't have to do a 2:00 live, and Dress My Craft was scheduled to do a live with me today, so I was only on for a couple minutes. So
yeah, that's perfect. And so, Anne, what's going on in your creative world right now? I know you're coming up on a new issue of Bella Crafts.
I am. I'm currently putting the fall issue together, and for the last 2 months, I've been in so many places with my mom and everything that I'm just trying to catch up. Yeah. I realized, oh my goodness, I have a lot to do. But if you have not signed up for Bella Crafts magazine, it's free. It comes right to your inbox. I'll put a link in here, and you can sign up. You would get the summer issue, and then the fall issue, I am hoping I will help out by the end of the month.
And I have watched Anne put together each of these issues over the past couple of years, definitely, since we've been working more closely together. And it is a ton of work to pull all of these designs together from your creative girlfriends and lay it all out and get it ready for the subscribers. And the fact that she doesn't charge for this, you really need to check it out.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the fall issue. Most of the issues have, it started getting so big. This fall is the start of our 14th year, I think. And it started out as a 24-page publication, and then it grew to about 120 pages. And then I thought, wait a minute. So I backed it up. It is now between 60 and 80 pages, but there is minimum 12 projects, sometimes 20. So, but yeah, there's a lot of fun fall projects in there. So yeah, check it out.
And that's one of the dangers of having a digital magazine, because it's like, oh, I can add another page. I can add another page.
So easy.
As opposed to a print where you have to fit it into a number of pages. So,
well, and I did learn that the hard way, because we do ebooks also. Mm-hmm. And so the ebooks, I have one with Joe Pearson, who worked with Michael's all those years. It's 103 Christmas crafts, and it's 150 pages, which is fine for digital, but they're also available print on demand. Right. Nobody wants to pay $50 for an ebook or for a print book, or very few people. And one of Eileen's was about 150 pages. So I've cut the ebooks back so they can be available as print on demand. And I tried to keep those under 80 pages so it's more cost effective to buy, because I like print. So
I do too. There's a lot of us who want to be able to hold that magazine and turn the pages. So I love that you offer it both ways.
yeah, it is. It's a good thing. So what have you been up to?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit later in the show because we were talking about design space and how we organize or not. We'll talk about that with Deb a little bit later. But I've been sitting here every day saying, I need to clean up. I need to clean up. I need to clean my studio. And then I don't. So I'm at a point where I feel like I need to do a really thorough cleanup because when I'm in design mode, I make a mess. And so that's where I am. And part of this over here that goes into tables over there is just a collection of a lot of projects that I've worked on for the past couple of months. Some that are in different stages, some that are completed. And I must go through and put my supplies away.
Yeah, I know. And I put supplies away when I'm done with the project. It makes me function so much better.
Yes. Yeah. It's pretty nice when you can go and find your supplies because you put them back where they belong as opposed to going through looking for things. But yeah. So
there's always one tote, that might just end up with stuff that's random that gets put away later. But yeah.
So in addition to what we see in your background, how big is your studio?
This is, I think it's 16 wide by about 20. It was at one time the family room. I mean, I have 5 kids. It's an older house. The house is like from the 1890s. And it used to be the parsonage for the Lutheran pastor. And they thought they couldn't get a pastor unless they built a new house. Which, I don't know. I love my house. So this also used to be a doctor's office before it was a parsonage. So this area was the doctor's office. But we had it as a family room. And then as one of my sons, so my middle son, he said, Mom, could I have that for my bedroom? And I'm like, sure. Because at that time we had 3 kids left. And so it was his bedroom. And then it was John's bedroom. And so when Callie was the only one left, I said, so do you want it for your bedroom? And she said, no, Mom, make it your craft room.
Oh.
So yeah, that was nice. So this is my main studio, but because it is such a large house, we have a guest room upstairs. And then we have another room that is my sewing room, but it has a pull-out bed. So it's also a guest room. So, I feel very spoiled, but it's my job. So I love everything about my studios.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
daughter after my own heart. Yes, I know, right, Carrie?
And, you need that kind of space and organization. With all of the lives that you do, you need to be able to organize like that.
Yes, it does make a difference. And it's really cool because there's 5 windows in here. So when I do a live during the day, I have all of my shades up and I don't need my overhead light on. So it's not reflecting on the project I'm doing. Right. But over here, I have a counter that goes across the entire place and I have shelves beneath it, but then I have a gap. And that gap is perfect because I have trays under there. So I'll put whatever I'm working on for a live on that tray so I can just pull that whole tray out. And it works perfectly.
One thing I've had a challenge in this studio I'm in right now, and I'm in a walkout basement, and it is darker. I have one window and one door in this room. And definitely one of the challenges that I've had is trying to decide how to set it up to do my videos and my photography. And for a while I had it here, and then I thought, well, I don't want that sitting permanently behind me. And then I moved it to a couple of the other tables in here to try and be as efficient as possible. And for some reason in this studio, I just haven't found the right spot for me. And yet I've had other studios where it's like, it was perfect. I had the video spot and I had photography. This one has been more difficult for me to set up.
Well, and I don't even have video set up all the time, which is sad. But I did recently purchase, I haven't had anybody put it up yet, but I purchased a telescopic arm to hold my camera.
Okay.
And it is magnetic. So it came with 2 tiny little magnetic plates, but I want big plates. So I can have one up here. So I could just take that and put it here if I wanted to do something in there. And then I want one up in my sewing room because some of the projects I do are sewing. And I'm always sitting there with my phone and I'm trying to take a video. It doesn't work.
I have seen some of those videos.
I know you have. They're not very good.
No, I said, bless you. And I said to her, the next time you do this, you might try X and XYZ for it. So anyway, even those of us who have the best of intentions who kind of do this for a living, it's like we're still trying to figure out how to do this. I'd love to hear from everyone in the chat tonight. I know we've had some people come on and actually show their design areas and photographs and such. And we've asked in the past about how do you organize? And you have shared that. So we probably should remind everyone that we do have time tonight for you to come in and share. So if there's a project that you are working on that you want to put into the spotlight, we will post. And do you want me to post that link?
I just grabbed it.
Okay. We'll post so that you can join us in the green room and we'll bring you on. And our special guest tonight will be joining us shortly here. And we want to give her plenty of time to show her project. So I think what we'll do is we'll bring Deb in here, Anne. I'll have you do that. And then anyone afterwards, towards the end of tonight's show, wants to share. Hey, Deb.
Hi. Hello.
So good to have you here again tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I always love to see when you're coming up in our schedule and you have the greatest project ideas.
Thank you.
So we're going to turn it over to you and again, introduce yourself once you get that full screen and have fun. Can't wait to see what you're making.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Deb Floros, and I am a jewelry designer, jewelry maker, jewelry making educator, jewelry fanatic, and I'm a cool crafter. I said the last time I was here that I thought I might be a cool crafter, but the ladies convinced me that I am. So I am a cool crafter, and I'm happy to be here. I've been sharing projects with you guys around repurposing, upcycling, thinking about taking jewelry that's previously loved and making it into something new, breathing new life into it, giving it a new home, so to speak. And I have another project for you tonight, but this one, I've actually got 2, and I don't know if I'll be able to finish both, but I want to be able to inspire you and show you what you can do with something that I also think you might have hanging around the house, in your jewelry box, in the back of your closet, or you might find such a thing at, I don't know, a garage sale or an estate sale. So I'm going to flip the camera down. If you give me 1 second, just going to flip myself down and I'm going to show you what I have in front of me. So here are a couple of fun things, and let me tell you about what this is in reference to. So you probably all have something that looks like this. This is a stretchy bracelet, and it is made with components that have multiple holes. So they've basically got 2 holes on each side to allow that material to go through. These are typically called slider components, and you might see these in a craft store sold so that you can create something with them. But I bet a lot of you have a bracelet that is either intact or maybe it's fallen apart and you've got the parts stashed away in a drawer, in a bag. This is one of my most favorite things to create with. Here's another one I've got. This one's a little loosey-goosey, and that's when I'm kind of prompted to go and take it apart and do something with it. Maybe you love something like this, but you don't love it with this much. So maybe you love this pattern, but it's a lot as a big bracelet. But you can take one piece and you can cut this up and you can create it in and make it into something different. I just want to show a couple of pieces. These two pieces of mine were created with sliders. So this is a slider piece right here. And it doesn't have an open back, but this is a slider here, was part of a stretch bracelet. And then this one has some fun enamel on it. And it's got the 4 holes on the back. And what I do when I create mine is I actually add a little bit of embellishment to the back. So I add beads to the back, which I think makes it look a little bit more upscale. So both of these pieces were in the spring edition of Belle Armoire jewelry, if I can talk. And so these pieces were really fun to make, and I'm really proud of them. And they're out there in the world in a magazine, in print, as we were talking about. So I wanted to give you guys some ideas on making a couple of different things. So the projects I've been showing you so far really haven't required a lot of tools, a lot of material. These do, but they're very easy to make. So if you've got, I'll kind of walk through tools and materials as I go. I'm going to show you 2 different things. I've got a bracelet over here, and I've got an earring over here. And one of my favorite sliders to work with is a wood slider. So I had a bracelet that I cut up, and it has 2 holes. And I also had this fun bracelet that I cut up that I don't know, I found it at an antique store or something. It's certainly not an antique, but it's the perfect kind of thing to breathe new life into. So these are the pieces I want to talk about. We're going to use a couple of pieces from those 2 bracelets. And then this is an earring I made with a slider component that is also wood, but it came from a belt, believe it or not. So I found this really cool belt. I don't know where I found it, maybe at a garage sale, but some of the beads actually had holes in them, which I thought was interesting. So the 2 holes that you can string through don't interfere with that hole. So you've got that void space, which makes it a little bit interesting. So I'm always on the lookout for these things. If you want to try something like this and you don't have a bracelet stashed anywhere, you don't have anything stuck in your jewelry box, be on the lookout. As you're out thrifting or, cruising around and you see a garage sale, you might find something and you can create. So let's do this earring. This is fairly quick. So I'm going to be using some 24 gauge artistic wire. This is made by the Beadalon folks. And oh, you know what? I already cut my piece because I tried to do a little bit ahead of time, but this is the wire I'm going to use. So you would definitely need a tool to cut your wire. And what I did was I took some, I think these are 4 or 5 millimeter melon shaped check glass beads. And I've got some size 11 Toho seed beads. And I strung on, there's 7 of the little melon shaped beads with a seed bead on either side of them. So there's a seed bead to start and a seed bead that ends this little strand. And I just string it onto this wire. And 24 gauge wire is very, very pliable, very easy to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the matching slider piece or 2-hole piece, and I'm going to take the wire and I'm going to put it through those holes. And it's okay if the wire bends a little bit, because we're going to do a little bit of work up top with that wire anyways. So I'm going to pull that that little section of beads through, and look, it just creates this fun little kind of U shape. And I'm just going to shape it just a little bit to make it consistent with the other one. And the wire will hold its shape. After a bit of wearing it, maybe it might bend here or there, but you can always make sure that you straighten it out. So the next thing I do once I get up top, excuse me, guys, is I'm going to take a seed bead and put one seed bead on each piece of wire. And then I'm going to add the little rounds, little melon-shaped rounds that I got. I thought this was a beautiful color palette for fall. So I'm going to take those 2 beads and set them up top. Now you could do all kinds of different designs here. You could do fewer beads at the bottom, all seed beads at the bottom, no beads up top. The world is your oyster, but showing you that there's so much that you can do with just this one little slider bead. So I'm going to take 5 of these beautiful seed beads. These are in an antique bronze color. So they kind of go nicely with this color palette for fall. I love making fall jewelry. That's probably my favorite season to make for, even though I don't really live in a place where there's actual fall, but I have lived in places where there's fall. So I appreciate fall very much. So 5 seed beads on top of either of our little melon-shaped beads. And then I'm going to do a little crisscross. And what I want to do is create a bit of a wire wrapped section here. So I'm going to pull one wire around the other. So let me get that situated there. So it's going to look like that. And then I'm just going to wrap that a few times around. Now, the cool thing about 24 gauge wire is it's very easy to work with. So I'm just using my fingers. I'm not even needing to use any kind of plier or anything to help me get that wire wrapped around. When I get to the back, which I've officially decided this is the back, I'm going to trim off my excess. And if you find that any of the excess wire is kind of poking out, you might want to tuck it in with your chain nose pliers. So far we've used a cutter and some chain nose pliers. Now I'm going to pick up some round nose pliers. So these have a nice round tips on them, so we can create loops with them. So the way I do it is I'm just going to come really close to where those wraps are. And I'm going to grab that, press tightly, not too tight. And I'm going to pull my wire around, and I'm going to kind of twist the piece and the pliers. And then I'm going to do a couple more wraps around that place where we've already done the wrapping. And just going to pull that around, and then I'm going to cut off the excess there. And then I'm just going to grab the chain nose again, and I'm just going to kind of tighten up that little end of the wire and flatten out that loop. And now we have a partner for our other earring. So I've got some ear wires, just some basic French hook ear wires. You can choose any kind of ear wire you like. These are my favorites. And drop that on, and that is a fun and easy way to use sliders. And this would work for any other slider you've got. So even, I bet some of you would even recognize these. Look at this little teeny tiny guy. This is from a bracelet that was cut up. And these little bracelets were everywhere for a while. So you could just as easily take some wire through, and you would need fewer beads and maybe even, just a smaller scale. I mean, there's quite a difference in size there, but you probably have something like this or could get your hands on something like that. So different shapes, different sizes, different kinds, different textures. So many fun things you can do with these beads. So let me quickly put this away. Just going to slide this over to one side, and I'm going to pull over the other project. And sorry, this wood table makes a lot of noise. So let's take a look at this. So I started this one because though it is easy, there's a lot of little pieces and parts on this one. But I want to call out, I started with one of these wood pieces. So I showed you this, and it's got the 2 holes. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to take something that is like almost an exact style opposite of this? So these I just thought were so beautiful. They've got some nice poured enamel, some rhinestones. And I thought, ooh, let's put some rhinestones on the wood. So I pulled out the Aleene's rhinestone adhesive and some rhinestones, and I glued on my little larger rhinestones, so to make them proportionate to this piece. So we've got the same pattern of rhinestones in the big piece that we have in the smaller ones. What I did next was I pulled out some stringing wire. So I also am using a Beadalon product. Stringing wire is very different from the wire that we were just working with. It's meant to be very flexible, meant to be for bracelets, necklaces, even anklets. And this kind of wire is, it's like a lot of wires put together and coated. And this is a 19 strand. So it's got like 19 strands of tiny little metal wire in there. And this is a gold color. So I took that out and I strung on a combination of things. So I also have some seed beads for this one. I picked out a little bit of a darker color here. And I thought it would be cool just to kind of give us some dimension with that color. And then this is another one of my favorite things to work with. These are called daisy spacers or just spacer beads. And you can see why these look a little bit more like snowflakes, but these guys look like daisies. And I love working with these. They add interest, they add dimension, they add, some metallic accents to a piece. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to just make them into like a beaded look? So I strung on one strand because, as I said, there's a lot of pieces here. We don't have all night, but I'm going to flip this over and show you that little accent that I do. So you have to go through the slider to attach it. And rather than have the wire exposed, I like to add a little beading to that as well. So I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how I do that. And we'll get as much of this done as we can. It won't take that long. I'm pretty fast in stringing this kind of thing. So I've got 2 sizes of the daisy spacers. And what I did was I put a small one on and then 3 of the large ones. And when you get the 3 large ones together and then another small one, it kind of looks like a bead, right? So I put that on, and then I put on a seed bead. Then I put on another small one, and I'm doing 4 sections of these little metallic pieces. So 4 of these daisy spacer sections, and in between each one of them, just this tiny little size 11 seed bead. It's in a different metal tone, very subtle, but you might be able to see there's a little bit of a difference in the metallics there. I like that look. I like a mixed metal, especially when you're working with different shades of materials, different kinds of materials, different colors together. It's funny when you put like 2 colors together, sometimes the 2 colors are hard to match, but when you bring in a third or a fourth, they just kind of work. I don't know if there's a term for that, but I find that it just kind of works. So one more section here of these beads on this side. And I played around with this a little bit because another thing to think about when you have big pieces like this for a wrist, you want to make sure it's going to lay right on the wrist. And so I had much more spacing in between these. And then I realized, ooh, that's not going to sit right on my wrist. So depending on your pieces, you might have to do a little bit of playing around to see what works. So I'm going to go through the first hole on this component, and then I just kind of see what this looks like, make sure all of that looks right. And by the way, I have what's called bead stoppers on either side of my first strand so that none of that falls off. We'll attach all of this to a clasp. So here's the seed beading part. So I'm going to put 10 seed beads in this 2-hole bead. And I did actually, I don't know if you could see, but I did put 1 daisy spacer on the outside of this component as well. I'll bring it up to the camera in a second and show it to you. That kind of covers up the hole on that piece and brings the continuity of the design together. So I just like to give as much finishing touches to a piece as I can to make it look, look a little bit more finished, a little bit more polished. So I'll show you what this looks like here. So I've got a daisy spacer right up next to the piece, and then I've got my seed beads all strung on. Now, this is a little bit tricky. I've done this a lot, so I don't worry about this, but you might struggle a little bit when you do this the first time. So if you've got your beads, you've got to go back through the hole on the other side of this component. So I try to have more of my wire available because it'll allow you to kind of move that wire through, and it will curl a little bit, but it will allow you to get that through without struggling and having your beads fall off. So if you're trying to push through that other hole and you don't have a lot of wire, you're going to find that your beads might pop off as you're trying to do it. So give yourself some slack. I'm actually working from the package so that I'm not worried about the wire yet. Like I'm gonna cut it off when I'm done with this strand. So I'm putting on another small daisy spacer, and then we're going to need to go through that center piece, and the center piece is a little bit angled. So my trick here is I'm going to use 1 small daisy and 1 larger daisy, and then I'm going to go through the other hole on the wood piece and make sure I've got everything all in the right spot. Then on the other side, same thing. I'm going to take a large one, and this is a lot wider here than these pieces, so the big ones make sense on the larger piece there in the center. So put this one on, and then 1 seed bead, and then another one of our small daisies. And then I'm going to flip this guy over, and I'm going to go through the other hole on this one. And oops, so it wants to get squirrely on you, but you're the boss. You got to be the boss of the piece. And there we go. So, and I've got my other wire. Here we go. Okay. So now I'm going to add those seed beads again. So I'm going to come in and I've actually got a little bit too much wire. So I'm just going to put on 10 beads. And some folks will pick up their seed beads with their wire. I'm not really good at that. This wire is a little too loosey-goosey for me. Some folks are good at that. I'm not. So I just put it on my finger and pick them up off my finger. So let's see. Yeah, I have room for one more. And you'll find that the different spacers will give you, you know, a different number need for the pieces. So let me figure out where my hole is there. And I'm just giving, see, I've got lots of slack here. And I'm going to put that through, grab a hold of that, and then pull that through. So now you've got a nice accent. I mean, this wire is lovely and it's a beautiful gold tone, but we've added a little bit of finish, some polish to this piece. So we're just going to do the exact same thing on this end as we did over here. We're doing our little clusters of our spacers. I had these spacers so nicely separated by size, and somehow in the course of the day, they've all kind of, you know, hung out together. And so now they're all over the place together. So we're just going to make those clusters. And I grab a little one and make sure I've got all the right ones. The first time I made this, I actually kept forgetting to add the last small one. So I was wondering why my bracelet wasn't looking right. And I'm like, I sure did miss some of those. So just get on our last two clusters. So this is so easy. This is such an easy thing to do. It's just coming up with your combination of things. You don't have to do one where you use different sliders. You can just put one big slider. You can do 3 sliders. You can do 2 sliders, whatever your preference is. And it's also going to, you know, be a decision because of the size of the pieces that you've got. So that one doesn't want to work. So you would have to adjust based on what you've got. So I'm gonna leave about 2 or 3 inches at the end here, and I'm gonna grab another bead stopper. So I'm gonna pop that on, and now I can cut my wire from the package. So this is one way that it will, you can help yourself save some wire, at least a little bit, by working from the package. Because sometimes you don't know how much you're going to use. You don't know until you kind of get everything done. So I'm going to show you what this looks like on the wrist. So this is a statement piece, right? This is a big statement piece. So we've got our little poured enamel pieces. Those just show enough on the top of my wrist and the side of my wrist that I'm good with that. And you'll see how our little pieces, our little components in between are, nicely holding on to things and finishing up those edges. And then you'll have your little gold clusters around the bottom. Now, if your piece is silver based or a different color, you can get these kinds of things in all different metallics. I buy these in bulk when I go to bead shows because I work with them a lot. So I'm actually going to finish this off camera. But I wanted to show you, this is the kind of clasp that I like to have for a bracelet like this. It's not a requirement to use a 2-strand clasp, but this is a slide clasp. So you can slide the tubes together, and you would attach your wire with, you would use crimp tubes, and you would use a crimping plier. So I thought maybe for another project, we could get into crimping a little bit, and I can give you guys the fundamentals of crimping. That's a part of the process that I think some people struggle with. So we can do a project and spend a little bit of time focused on the crimping part of things. So this is our fun slider upcycle project for the week. And what I'll do is, when I get the clasp on this, is I'll post a little video and put it into the Cool2Craft group, and you guys can take a look, and I'll do a up close of the earrings as well, so you can see those and check them out and give yourself some ideas. And maybe this will inspire you guys to go get yourself some tools and some wire and shop the estate sales, find some sliders, and make some fun things. So ladies, that's what I got for you today.
And
love that.
You know what's so cool? I love watching you, Deb, and the use of the tools, because a lot of people may think that they don't have to invest in some of those tools, but honestly, you can explain this to us. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah, you definitely need a few tools to be a jewelry maker and make certain kinds of jewelry. So my expertise, kind of my go-to, is stringing, like we were doing today, stringing onto beading wire. That's kind of my thing. That's always kind of that's where I started, and it's kind of what I go to as a default. For that kind of a project, you do need a crimper, you need a cutter to be able to cut your wire. But there's all kinds of tools out there, and they're at all different price points. So if you're not sure about jewelry making, maybe it's a craft you haven't really dabbled in, you're not sure about it yet, there are so many affordable tool sets out there, both in craft stores and online. I'd be happy to share recommendations if folks are interested at some point. But you just need a few basics. And to make the earrings, I needed two other things. I needed a chain nose and a round nose. And this is a set here that Beadalon makes. Mm-hmm. And they're actually like a small tool. So some of the tools I have are really big, but these are nice and small and compact. So you don't need a lot to embark on jewelry making, but there are some things, like we did a couple weeks back, we did the wire wrap bangles. You really don't need, you need something to cut the wire. Mm-hmm. There's lots of other things where maybe the tool set is a little bit different, but tools can be very affordable, and even some of the economy tools are pretty good. It's hard to find really bad tools out there. There are some, but even the economical ones are pretty darn good these days.
Cool.
Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned is that you might post a little short video about finishing that up. I'm going to put a link in, because if you are joining us tonight for the first time, we have a private Cool2Craft community where we post other things and opportunities like this, that if we can't quite finish everything that we want to here, so we want to invite you to come over and join that community.
Yeah, lots of great ideas over there. We need some more ideas to be shared too. I want to see some new crafters
I
some new
know.
jewelry crafters make some jewelry.
I know. And I see that Nina's in the room and we want to invite her in. I'm also going to put Deb's link tree. I shared it earlier when she was demonstrating. That is a whole list of where they can find you through your link tree, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, Deb, you stay here and then we're going to go ahead and bring Lenine in.
Hey, Lenine.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hi.
Today I'm not sharing jewelry. I'm sharing something else. It's really personal. I'm making this journal, and we all have journals that we make, and we all have art journals that we do. Well, this is more of a personal journal, but Tiffany, you did a wonderful podcast this last week about Aileen's, and you said a couple of things that I have put in my journal that I loved, and I want to share those. And one of them was, when people can share in community, there's nothing better. It's not about me. It's about everybody creating together, sharing our ups and our downs. That's you, Tiffany, saying that. And then the other thing I wrote that you wrote is, do not overthink things, be in the journey. And these really hit home to me, and they went in my personal journal that I'm keeping. And it's full of, I've got like flips, because the pages, I have a 2-page limit on what each page each day could be, and it gets too long. So I have to add in these to add the rest of the words. And I put in lots of pictures and quotes and stuff like that. And so anyway, thank you, Tiffany, for your podcast. It was great. It was a wonderful history on your mom.
Wow.
Thank
you so much. I actually, as you were talking about it, I went to go grab the link. Thank you so much. I had a wonderful chat with these beautiful women that have a company that they do handmade paper flowers, and they have a Paper Talk podcast. And I met them because this year is the 75th anniversary of Elaine's Tacky Glue. And so we were trying to find others who were using, how did Elaine's Tacky Glue help you build your business? And so thank you so much for that feedback, Lenine, because it was a great opportunity to share about Mama Elaine's story. And it's so funny because we chatted for an hour, but I said, we haven't even made it to where Mom actually started the craft industry.
I know, you only got to 1960 something, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're going to have me back, but it was a lot of fun. So thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate that.
But it became part of my daily journal.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. That's what this is all about.
Before we let you go, Lenine, I have a question. So every day you write in your journal?
Oh yes, this journal is, I am on this is a journal for, I'm trying to be very healthy, and this is my health journal. And so to do that, you have to really be in the moment. You can't let it go. It's not tomorrow, it's today. And so I have to write every day in here to remind me, or keep notes of what I did, or, just everything that goes along with my health journey. And so I'm working very hard because, honestly, I'm 70 years old and I need to make it to 90. Well, yes. I want to make it to 90, but I want to make it healthy. I don't want to be where someone has to take care of me at 90. I want to be mobile, blah, blah, blah. And so this is my way of trying to get there that way.
I love that.
That is beautiful. And just, we do hold ourselves more accountable when we do write that down. So congratulations on your healthy journey.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
In addition to art. Oh,
but you combine the two.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this journal, though, is basically a lot of writing. I do have other art journals.
Yeah. But you're being creative and making those pages open up. So you have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you are still doing something creative in there. And I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lenine. We really appreciate you. And we're so delighted that you're part of our community.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your podcast, Tiffany. That was a beautiful podcast about your mom.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. I love any opportunity I have to talk about my mama. I love her story. So thank you.
And thank you both for having this pajama party revival again, because it's really important. It's just like, this is a health revival for me. Sort of, we let our health go sometimes, and I'm doing a revival too.
Amen. Love it. Thank you for sharing, because it's important that others know what we're dealing with every day and what's our focus. And we as women need to share that in community.
So,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lenine.
Thanks, Lenine.
Wow, what a beautiful story. Amazing.
It's inspiring.
I know. And Deb, Ann and I were talking a bit at the top of the show. And so now it's time for your craft room confessions.
Oh.
Are you
ready for
ready?
Are you ready? How much time do we have? No.
You have 9 minutes.
All right. My confession is that even though you probably can see mess behind me, the worst of the mess is everywhere that you cannot see. So I've been in deep project mode. I am almost every week, but like I've got a few more extra things right now. So there's like trays of projects everywhere. And then the stuff that I have pulled out to work on them. So there's bins on the floor and tops of bins and bags, and it's insanity. And my husband, when he comes in here, he just kind of like stares, like blankly stares at everything, like I don't even know what I'm looking at. This is like chaos. But I think I heard Anne say that she likes to have things out and while she's working on something, and I'm pretty much that way. So until a project's like done, I can't put all the stuff that goes with it away and put it back where it belongs. But generally speaking, I'm kind of disorganized in some ways, because some things are very organized, but other things are just jammed into a bin and I'll never find it. So, yeah, that's my confession. It's a virtual chaotic disaster area in this room right now.
I saw you looking down at the floor, and one of the things I don't do is set on the floor, because I've made the mistake of putting things down on the floor and then I step on them. And it's either paint or some sort of 3D crystal lacquer, and it sticks to my shoe. So I learned that very quickly. I do not put things on the floor.
Yeah, I did tip over a little like platter of things today, and like everything just kind of went whoosh off the thing. So I'm like, all right, well, that was sort of organized, but now it's not. So I'll deal with that later.
And you work in such smaller pieces with the beads and all the findings and such. So you have to keep that contained.
Yes, I do my best, but I do have to say right now it's probably the worst it's looked in a couple of months. It's pretty crazy. So tomorrow morning, after I have my coffee, my plan is to at least make it walkable.
That's a great goal. So awesome. Well, Anne, what else do you want to chat about tonight before we, looks like we have about 6 more minutes.
We do. I don't even know. I would like people who are watching to put if they're organized or disorganized crafters. I mean, like my husband thinks I'm strange because, well, I do put everything away, but if I'm going on a trip, I cannot leave unless everything is put in place. It's vacuumed. Everything is wiped down. I mean, there are sometimes before I'm leaving, my husband will come out and he'll say, "You're not going to get that clean before you leave." I mean, I will stay up all night because I always tell them I would hate if something happened and my kids had to come in here. I want it the way it should be, and then they can go through my stuff. Plus I hate coming home from a trip to a mess. I don't want to come in clean in a mess.
Yeah.
So it has to be clean.
Yeah. And me, I just close the door behind me. I don't.
A lot of
Nobody else is coming in here. So,
but I mean, to walk in after being gone and then to have to put the stuff away before you can, I can't do that. Carrie, I'm an organized crafter. I'm that way in general too. Lenine is working on organization. I have 2 bins, keep, sell, and beg for trash.
yeah.
That's good.
The funny thing is, I'm really organized in every other aspect of my life. I was telling Deb and Ann that I've been living in travel trailers since 2019. I went from a 28-foot trailer to a 5th wheel. I love my trailer life because everything, you only keep what you need. So in the kitchen, you keep the exact tools that you need because you have 3 drawers. Clothing, it's everything you need. But for some reason, that does not translate to me because I have too much room. And I don't have to keep thinking in that mode. So that's my 2 different views of my organized world.
Well, and also you're making more projects than you have in a long time.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't really know. I have not been a crafter my life. I've been on the business side of crafting. When I did Elaine's creative television show, I was the producer and host. I did some crafting. I wrote some books, but nothing like. And then when I started Cool2Craft online, I did jump in for several years and did 1,000 videos. But I was using my sister's studio.
Yeah.
And then I moved from where I was to a little town called Piru, and I had 2,000 square foot retail space. I was writing a book. It was a book about scarves, and so I had 20 tables in there for each of the projects that were in the book. And again, so I organized it. But I'm not a lifetime crafter. So I apparently now understand why.
Carrie says, sounds like your basement is about the size of your travel trailer. What a switch.
Yeah, my basement's actually bigger, more square footage than my trailer. But so anyway, it's all a cool journey, and I just love hearing what everybody else does, and I'm ready to downsize my crafting again. When I moved here a year and a half ago, I had 0 craft supplies, and then I totally went crazy. So anyway, I think it's time for me to downsize. I think it's time for us to do Whatnot auction again, Anne, so that because I'm ready to let go of some more things where I hadn't been for a while.
Well, the thing is, when you're doing more crafts, you don't know what you need.
I know.
You have to get rid of something
No,
that you then need.
that's exactly what I go through. And then I hold on to it. And I have a lot of things in here that I thought I would need that I haven't used. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. And I organize with shoe boxes from the Dollar Tree, and then also the plastic containers, because I like everything to be the same size when I'm putting it on a shelf. So I have organized that way. But oh man, it's so easy to collect.
It is.
It's a different hobby. It's 2 hobbies. So you have your craft hobby and your collecting hobby.
Yes, and you know that because if you're always shopping for things you want to upcycle, you can't pass them up.
Yeah, I have way more beads than I'll ever be able to use in my lifetime. So, but I keep buying them because I love finding new treasures, and yeah, so.
And they're beautiful, and you can use that someday, right?
I know what I want to do with this 10 years from now when I finally get to it.
Well, you've really
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that Deb's really inspired me tonight because I saw so many pieces of things that I have, like bracelets that I didn't even know that they were called like sliders, but those have been very popular in the past years. And it's like, and I still have them because I tend to keep my costume jewelry. And it's like, oh my gosh, to see how you can take them apart and customize them, I'm so inspired. So I'm not getting rid of all of my jewelry making supplies.
No.
Don't do it. I won't let you.
I won't do it. I won't do
You'd
it.
have to send it to Deb.
I'll take it. I'll find somewhere for it.
Exactly.
I was going to say that I went to school actually for fashion design. So I have been a sewer all of my life. I have got fabric. I mean, upstairs is so organized. It is. I have created bolts for all my fabric, but I have fabric that is probably 40 years old.
Wow.
You know, but it's so much fun. Like when my granddaughters, they want to make something, they can just pick. It's like they can go shopping.
Oh, I bet that's fun. I mean, to go and be able to touch all of it. And do you have like all the trimmings and all of that too?
Yep. Yep. Have it all.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
I love it.
Well, this has been a great show tonight. And Deb, I loved everything that you shared tonight. I learned some new tips and tricks and techniques, and we thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I was just looking at the schedule, and I see you're coming back in October. So we look forward to welcoming you then. And
Yeah.
And always thank you to all of our creative girlfriends who join us every Wednesday night, and spread the word. Join our Facebook group, our community. And just like Deb was saying, I want to see more people sharing. You know, I get sidetracked. Again, there's so many things that Ann and I are working on right now. It's like, oh, I need to go in and post something in the group. So I definitely rely on everyone else to post. And so I encourage you to join us in that group and post.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
all right. So we're going to sign off and just thank you all. We feel so blessed that you're part of our community.
Yes. And good night, Amanda. She just came in. So
Oh,
she came in.
Amanda. Hello. Good night.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.